I only insist that meaning is available in spite of, nay, even through suffering, provided, as noted in part 2 of this book, that the suffering is unavoidable. If it is avoidable, the meaningful thing to do is to remove its cause, for unnecessary suffering is masochistic rather than heroic. If, on the other hand, one cannot change a situation that causes his suffering, he could still choose his attitude.
Shaykh says, continuing, when faced with trials, this person responds with anxiety that constricts the chest, and with fear and resentment. Do not ask about the misery their life goes through. The ailment of the mind and the body bring out the worst in him. The whole outlook is a result of a deep void and emptiness, because such people do not expect to be rewarded by their Creator and do not have reasons to assume patience that will lighten their burden. If someone doesn't believe in Allah and the last day, when they are impacted by these kinds of suffering or worries, anxiety, they have nothing to fall back, no security blanket. Where is your iman to hold you when you have a calamity? And where is your hope for Allah's reward and belief in Him to give you strength against anxiety? You don't have it. So what you do, you're left to toil by yourself, to be worrying. Even though you have wealth, you have luxury, but you have problems. And we say this is no coincidence. Allah promised, whoever turns away from His remembrance is going to have ma'ishat al-lanka, a very miserable life. And some people misunderstand that miserable life. It has two meanings. One of them, the fuqaha and the mufassirun, they say it's in the dunya. Literally a miserable life. Despite what they have wealth, they're not happy. They're miserable, upset, complaining, always looking for more, despite having so much.
ولا تهنوا في ابتغاء القوم إن تكونوا تألمون فإنهم يألمون كما تألمون وترجون من الله ما لا يرجون وكان الله عليما حكيما.
And the Shaykh then mentions that the believer, for example, if tested with sickness or poverty or other than it, will remain even-tempered, and his heart does not demand that his condition be made known. He will look to disadvantaged persons beneath him and not those above him, so as to appreciate his blessing. It may be that his happiness exceeds the happiness of those who obtain all pleasures of the world. This is due to faith, acceptance, satisfaction, and the delight of they contain for its beholder to reflect upon. What he means by this, the Muslim, even though we have our own challenges in our life, everyone will be tested. We are still encouraged to look at those who have less than us. So when we're suffering, we always remember those suffering more than us. It helps us to deal with it. And this is surprising, because when you're suffering, you're supposed to worry about your suffering, right? You're supposed to tell other people how much you're suffering. You're supposed to seek pity. Self-pity won't make you feel better. What will make you feel better is to look below you and say, Alhamdulillah, it's not worse than it was supposed to. Hadith Abu Hurairah, انظروا إلى من أسفل منكم ولا تنظروا إلى من فوقكم. We all know this hadith, but we have to think about it in happiness, in terms of happiness. Look to those who are lower than you. Don't look towards those who are higher than you. فَهُوَ أَجْدَرُ أَنْ لَا تَزْدَرُوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ. For it is more likely or more helpful in protecting you from belittling the favors Allah has confirmed upon you. Today, when we look at our lives, when you have a calamity, instead of looking only at the calamity as uniquely yours, you look at the calamity as a test, and then you think about your position against others. People have worse tests. Let me take this with stride. Let me be patient. And when you feel that you can't, you look to those before you had more tests. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was tested heavily. Allah keeps reminding the Quran, "Wasbiru, be patient," and then He gives examples of those who were patient. Dawood, Ayub, Yusuf. He used them as examples to help you when you feel like you can't handle it. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, one day he was having a hard time with some people, and he said, "Rahimallahu Musa, may Allah have mercy on Musa. فَقَدْ أُوذِيَ أَكْثَرَ مِنْ ذَلِكَ فَصَبَرَ." He had more difficulty than this, but he was patient. When we read the story of Musa, no prophet went through so much. But look at the patience. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam channeling Musa's example to remind him to be patient.